Now.
Hi, hello again. It's time to start with my memories, many of which I still have. Once when I moved to a new county, I got to meet the superintendent of schools. And he said, "Oh, I've been wanting to meet you." And I said, "Really?" He said, "Yes, the paperwork about all your school training makes it possible for you to teach longer than anyone else in the county, almost." I said, "Well, I have begun my 8th year of college. That may have done it." One day a lady looked at me and said, "Oh, yes, you will." She was the lady that was in charge of the Republican office waiting for the next voting time. And the reason she said that was, she had said to me, "Jenny, I want you to sit in the bleachers right behind President Bush when he comes to Sims Park." And my answer had been, "Oh no, I haven't done that much volunteer work." And she said, "Oh ho." She said, "Every Tuesday you go to prayer meeting, and when it's over, you fill your car with ladies and you all come down and make phone calls for the rest of the day. Yes, you will sit up in the bleachers behind the president." For a time back in Sebring, Paul had a radio show for the Lord and a TV show. The TV show he did by himself. He set up all the equipment, got everything ready to go, and then preached his heart out. The newspaper couldn't believe that he handled it all at once, and they did an article on him for the paper. There's one joke I really love, and Donna, you get to hear this twice in one day. My joke is about Aunt Emma. Aunt Emma called her family together and said, "Now I'm getting quite old, and I want you to know I want to be cremated, and then I want my ashes sprinkled out over my favorite wonderful river. Now will you all do that for me, arrange that?" And they said, "Of course we will, Aunt Emma." So the day came, and they all gathered at the river with the container with the ashes, and they said a few things, and then the man tipped the container so that all the ashes would fall into the river. Only there was a problem. The wind changed, and everybody wore Aunt Emma home. Well, I have been tickled about that joke so long, and then this happened. Laurel, our daughter in Atlanta, called on Mother's Day evening and said, "Oh, Mom, what is your favorite joke?" I said, "Oh, Aunt Emma, of course." She said, "Well, hang on, I have a story for you." She said the day was so beautiful that we decided we'd go on a family picnic at a lovely little park. There was a waterfall and a bridge, and it was just great. So we went there, and we walked down from the side of the water, down from the bridge, spread out our blanket, and had all our food ready to eat. And suddenly Tony, who's about to get married to Lindsay this month, Tony said, "Oh my goodness, these gnats are terrible." And Laurel said, "Tony, those are not gnats." She looked back up on the bridge, and sure enough, several people were standing together, and one of them was holding a container. Obviously, they had sprinkled the ashes of some beloved person into the water, but the wind changed, and Laurel and crew couldn't eat a bite of their lunch. Not after that. Oh dear. When I was in junior college, they did a kind of personality check on me and said, "Well, it's very simple. You are childlike. Not childish, but you are childlike." And of course, then I was almost 20. And I look at myself now and I say, well, I'm 92 and I'm having a ball, so that seems to fit that I am childlike. And also, I think of all the things I appreciate, like people's artwork, the exquisite flowers that God makes day upon day, the expressions of tiny babies. There's so much that I appreciate that I guess I am kind of childlike. Once I went to New York to visit Mike and Kim, and their little boy trotted into my room while I was unpacking. And suddenly, Jeremy looked up at me and said, "You're going to be dying soon, right, Grandmom?" And I said, "Well, Jeremy, I hadn't really planned on it, but whatever you say." So, you never know what a little child is going to come out with. I appreciate banks that are very, very careful. I got a call from our bank one day which said, "Jenny, you have changed your signature and we need to know what's going on." And she told me exactly what was changing, and I said, "Oh, I can explain that." I said, in Missouri, they taught a certain cursive letter or a cursive way to write the letter R. But when I trained in Florida and became a teacher, I was trained otherwise. The two states do not use the same cursive letter. And I said, "Thank you for being so obvious." My mother was a character from way back. We were camping out at Ocala National Forest, and we put our camper right next to the shelter. And one day a group of several people came in and sat at a picnic table to have their lunch under the shelter. A little while later, we looked across the shelter to the far corner and saw my mother holding up a beach towel, trying to change out of her swimming suit and still make herself a private person. It was hilarious. I used to sit by Laurel, our daughter, in church, and when we would finish singing, we would be about to sit down, and for some reason we always put our hands on the back of the pew in front of us. And if that pew began to shake, I knew right off God was giving Laurel a prophecy to share with the church. I knew because the whole pew was vibrating. Little Lindsay, Laurel and Larry's daughter, is a good little thinker, and let me show you why I say that. She said to her mom one day, "I want a dog. I want a dog." And her mom said, "Lindsay, we are traveling Christian missionaries. There's no way for us to handle a dog." So a few months later, this tiny little girl came to Mom again and said, "Mom, I want a dog. Can we have a dog?" And of course, Laurel had to give her the very same answer. Not long after that, Lindsay arrived and said, "Mom, after we have told everyone in the world, everyone about Jesus, then can we have a dog." What a good little thinker she is. Our Mary used to say to us, don't leave me, but if you have to, take me with you." When little Michaela, Lindsay's little sister, was born, she was so tiny, but she would study Missy and she'd study Lindsay. And her little eyes would go back and forth, and then she told us very clearly, "I have 2 big sisters. They're both redheads, but I can tell the difference because one of them has a very black nose and very black lips." Live well, laugh often, love much. Live well, laugh often, love much. Love you.